Hey, what's up everybody? It's me, Jordan, and I'm back with another drawing video. In this video, I'm going to be doing the no outline challenge. So, none of these guys. My beloved Copic Multiliners and Copic drawing pen. I felt bad doing that. But there's none of them. And also, I'm going to be taking it one step further and not using these guys. So no sketch, no erasing, none of that. I'm starting on a blank piece of paper and I'm going in straight with my Copics. So hopefully I get the proportions kind of right and it doesn't turn into a disaster. But also I will be using a white gel pen just for some highlights at the end, but definitely no outlines in this whole piece. So it's a really fun challenge to do because it forces you to use your Copics in a different way. It's kind of more like a painting, I find. So I had a lot of fun with this, and I'll probably do some stuff like this in the future as well. I will also be telling a horror story towards the end of this, so if you want to stick around for that, definitely do. It's a pretty cool story. And with that being said, let's get on with it. Before we get into it, this drawing is based off an oil painting by Lake Ness Oils. I'm sorry if I pronounced that completely wrong, but you can find him on Instagram and he creates these really awesome oil paintings which are horror inspired. They're really creepy and they've been a big inspiration for me lately and have just inspired me to try out a bunch of different techniques in my Copic pieces. I really like oil paintings and that kind of aesthetic, so I really try to bring that into my Copic artworks at the moment. I thought this challenge would be the perfect time to implement some of that, not relying on outlines for detail. It's all about using colour and kind of expressive strokes, if that makes any sense and doesn't sound too artsy. But that's kind of how I felt with this, and it's why I thought this was a really cool challenge. Some of the art challenges are kind of a bit more novelty just for fun, like drawing with your left hand or drawing with your foot or no thumb challenge. They don't really help you improve or learn different ways of doing things. They're more just for fun, and there's nothing wrong with that. Maybe I'll do something like that in the future, I don't know, never say never, but I feel like this challenge actually forces you to try out different techniques and it's really beneficial and I learnt a lot from it and I had a lot of fun doing it as well. So I will be doing some more stuff like this in the future as well. I've actually got another drawing which I've already done in the same style, so that will be coming to my channel soon. But for this piece, my main idea and kind of technique which I used is to slowly build up the colours, keep it really rough and then refine it as you go. I feel like this technique is often used in digital art. I see some Photoshop artists doing that. You kind of sketch it in, put down the base tones and figure out your contrasts and all that type of stuff, and then you just refine it as you go. It's a little bit weird doing that with Copics because you just have to be careful how you blend it. Sometimes you've got a limited amount of layers you can do before it gets muddy, but with this, there's a lot of texture in it as well, so I kind of liked the slightly messy look as well. But it's all personal preference, it's just an experimental piece really. Doesn't have to be perfect. I could have spent a lot longer on it and made it more detailed, but that really wasn't the point of this piece. It was just to have fun and keep it really loose and expressive, and I feel like I achieved that, at least in some capacity. I hope you guys enjoy watching the drawing process. I'm going to continue on and jump into a story, which is allegedly true, whatever that means. So put your headphones on, and let's get into the story. I grew up on the countryside, right next to a national park, frequently visited by nature lovers and bird enthusiasts. It was the kind of park where you're not really allowed to bike or ride horses, only walk or run. But 10-year-old me felt it was a stupid rule and did so anyway. because the trails were perfect for it. I knew full well that I wasn't supposed to do that, and was caught a few times, but nothing much came of it, apart from a half-hearted, "Don't do it again," and I did, of course. Until one day, something frightening happened that made me stop. My family were horse breeders, and I would often take one of the horses for a ride, usually in the Forbidden Park. This day, very early morning, the first day of the summer holidays, it was beautiful outdoors. Misty and foggy, yet a sky that promised a sunny day ahead. Since it was so early, before 6 o'clock, I knew there wouldn't be anyone on the trail to see me, so I let the horse off on full speed along the trail. I only slowed down on the part of the trail that got steep on one side, leading down to the river, because the thought of one step too close to the edge was too much, even for a kid with next to non-existent risk assessment skills. Suddenly the horse came to a halt and refused to take another step. I grew up with horses all my life and knew that this usually indicates that you need to investigate. Is there something wrong with the hoofs? Did the horse spot something that spooked it? The hoofs were fine, but the horse didn't move an inch. That's when I saw it. Someone had set up a trap. A thin, sharp metal wire across the trail, in perfect neck height for an adult. I stopped and looked around, but didn't see anyone. The wire was well attached to 2 trees and impossible for me to remove, so I led the horse around it, and to do so I had to walk a bit up into the wooden area on the side of the trail. That is when I heard the singing. There is a song called Heish Tomtegaba, and it was that melody, but the lyrics were different, and sung in a muffled, sniggering voice. Today I only remember parts of it, but translated, it would have been something like, "Hey, all you runners, come here passing, let the lifeblood pour out." I, as silently as I could, and with my heart in my throat, backed away, up onto the horse and hurried back the way I had come, as fast as I could. I knew I had to tell someone about it, but at the same time, I wanted to avoid admitting to riding a huge and very forbidden horse on those protected trails. So now I had a problem. The old stories about a mad old man living in the shed in the woods, a shed that was once a cottage for a local hunter, came back to me as I hung on the horse for dear life. I got home and told my older brother what had happened, and he went back there with me in tow. We found the wire trap, and after a while of searching, we also found a spear-like pole in the ground, right on the spot where you'd land if you came running and jumped over the fallen tree on the trail. That's when we called the police. The area was searched and several similar traps were found, but no sign of the old man. The following summer though, there was big news in the local paper about spear-like poles being found right under the water surface. Directly under that little tower you're supposed to dive from at the lake. And black garbage bags filled with big rocks were found on the narrow bridge crossing the river, so that if a car had hit it, risk is it would have gone off the road and into the water. The culprit was never found, but I believe that twisted old man is still out there to this day. In this video, I'm going to be doing the style challenge, which I don't think I really need to explain. It's pretty obvious. You draw a character and then you draw them in different art styles. I know, right? Just who would have thought that? Pretty much every artist on YouTube has already done this, and